Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's webinar for Specops Deploy. We are going to be talking about the self-service portal today. And I am Heather Potson here in Philadelphia, and along with my friend and colleague, Johan Soderstrom.
Hello, everyone.
So you ready for this, Johan? Our last one after a series of many webinars.
Absolutely. I'm really pumped up. So let's get started.
Let's get started. So a little bit about ourselves. I'm Heather Potson, one of the product specialists here at Specops. I have a background in AD and Windows infrastructure. You can see I enjoy traveling, dancing, and Formula One racing. I have 2 kids who do karate, and I also make wine.
Yes, my sweet wine that I got from my colleague from you.
Yes.
That I'm going to taste that later on this week.
Johan got a special delivery to Sweden last week for some of my homemade wine. So I'm anxious to hear how you like that.
Yeah, I will give you some review of it. So this is me. I'm Johan Soderstrom. I'm also product specialist here at Specops. I've been working a long time, especially with deployments. I like to travel to other countries. I'm, of course, a technology geek and also love food and wine, especially headers, I think, and also like motorcycles.
I don't know. I'm kind of nervous to see what your review is going to be of this. So we'll see how that goes. So, okay, let's get started. So today's agenda, we're going to be talking about self-service portal. So we're going to go over the features, the benefits, and the components of portal. Also, we're going to go through, as I go through some of the slides, I'm going to go back and have Johan pull up some of the different websites and screens. And then after we do that, he's going to give you a demonstration of portal in action. And then, as always, we have time for questions and answers. If you do have any questions, just type it in that lower right-hand corner on your screen. And then at the end, we'll get to everything, I promise. So I love Q&A. So let's get started. So what is Portal? Well, Portal allows users to request resources without contacting the help desk. It's self-service. It allows the users to get something and have it automatically deployed or granted access on their own. So it's a really nice tool mechanism that for like desktop administrators not to have to always do a manual intervention if you set it up right. So Portal can help you, give you applications, printer access, file shares, email groups. So pretty much anything that can be granted access by a security group, Portal can help you automate that. Also, we have a built-in request and approval workflow. So if you don't want everyone to be 100%, but have an approval from a manager, that's built in. And also we can keep track of licenses. So what are some of the benefits? Well, benefits are you do get your application management, the reporting. We do have built-in reporting, so managers and the powers that be can always see what's coming along. And also the biggest benefit is it cuts down IT response time. It's something that self-service that the users can get pretty much almost right away, depending if you do use approval or not.
Yeah, and don't forget that this is working 24/7. So all days long, all the 24 hours a day, you can actually order applications from your self-service portal. So that's really cool.
Yes. So it's a help desk that never shuts down.
Exactly.
I know. So some of the features of Portal is that you can provision any resource to end users upon request. So there's applications is one thing, but we do go beyond applications because, like you said, there's software, then there's file shares, printer access. That is key, is printer access. Sometimes I even know people can do, web filtering, depending upon if you set up your web filtering by groups, and depending upon what group you're put in, you can do it there. But you do need to ensure that resources are available to users based on roles. That needs to be set up in advance. And then you can either have auto approval or manual approval, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes also. And then you could track and report on those resources, like I said before. Can you have the next slide, please? So some technical information. To use Portal, what do you need? you need to have Active Directory. We don't work in work groups. It is Active Directory integrated. So the security groups are an Active Directory. So that is key. Without that, this wouldn't quite be working. Group policies, we always rely on Specops. So you'll find most of our stuff does have group policy integration. The security groups, that's very big because that is how access is granted, and Portal will add your user object or computer object to a group, and that's how you'll get your application or access to the resource you're trying to get. Specops Deploy and the Deploy client-side extension are also important for the application delivery piece because that is how you're going to get it. So for the applications, you still will have to package and set up a deployment in Deploy, but your target will be that security group, and that's the link there. So anything else you want to add, Johan, or did I cover it all in our overview?
No, the deployed client-side extension is actually the one that makes everything happen. So that's also, of course, so are you a deploy customer, you know what the client-side extension is. So that you explained that very well.
Thank you. All right. So key components. Well, in the self-service portal, we will give it GPMC snap-in, like most of our products. So if you have ever used any of our other products, we have the GPMC snap-in that helps configure the group policies we need for the application. We still also have some database stores, so you'll need a database. It can either be SQL Express locally or on a SQL server you have that will contain the information about your applications and units and owners and members. And then the web interface, that's the big piece. And that's what we're going to be showing you today as we go through the next few slides, is the websites that we have for your administrators, your owners, and your users. So let's take a look. Next slide, please. So there, like I said, based on the websites, the user roles that we have. Administrator configures the systems. They set up the units. Pretty much you could set up your units, and we're going to talk about units momentarily, what they are more, and set up your groups. So then your members or users are your end users. So that's who's going to be using stuff. And then there's the owners. The owner can be a person who owns an application or an object that you're getting access, like the printer. So if you do want to build in approval workflow, that's where the owner comes in. If you're going to do auto approval, then the owner really doesn't matter as much. And you'll see that as we're going to have some demonstrations to show those pieces. So administrator tasks. So they create your applications, your license distribution, and then they add owners and members to the units. So right now, Johan, could you pull up the administrator website so we could start taking a look at some of this? So I think for me, when I first started using Portal, it took me a little bit to wrap my head around some of these concepts, because at first I'm like, how do we do this? And then as I actually got into the websites and the pieces, it sort of all came together. So I'm hoping I can express that to all of you. So we're going to start here with units. So units is how we organize our access, because units has members and owners, and based upon the units is how we're going to grant the available applications or resources to grant access to. So without having the unit in place, that's how you sort of control, because you don't want to give someone, let them see something in Portal you don't want them to have access to. So that's through the units. So why don't we take a look at one of the units in here?
Free application, is that okay?
Sure. Or yeah, let's look at free applications, because there's no approval with that unit. And you could create many units, so it's not like you just have one unit. But when you come in here, you get a name to your unit, and you can see that you can give an owner and a member. And the owners or members could be security groups or individual users pulled in from your AD. So that's all you do to make your unit. You make it a name, and then the owner and the membership, that's where the key comes in. And why don't we look at the all users unit? Because again, free applications is one. All users is going to be a broad unit where we include domain admins. Oh, go ahead.
Those two are exactly the same.
Oh, they are. Domain admins and then the members. So that's broad. So let's look at a smaller unit, just so we could say if we want to do a business unit.
So a Foxtrot unit. So the owner is me. The F I have. I'm F Foxtrot in our demo environment. So in this case, my admin account, the F admin, is the owner, and my members are FF user and F user.
There you go. So that's a great example of a smaller one. So say like a certain department, finance department might have their own unit, and you'll only, grant access to the finance applications to that unit, where Adobe and Java and iTunes, you might use the everyone or free applications depending upon your needs. So thank you, Johan. And can we look at the applications tab now?
Of course we can.
Thank you. So now that you guys understand units, let's take a look at an application that's how set up. And why don't we start with 7-Zip? I believe that's a free application, or do you have another better one to look at?
No, that's 7-Zip is really, you don't need to approval of that one. So we added 7-Zip. Do you want to explain this, Heather?
No, why don't you?
Okay. So when you create an application, you need to name it. In this case, we named it 7-Zip, and we are deploying it to, we want this to be a computer deployment. So we want to add a computer to the group. So the installation type you can see here, and you also can browse to that security group called 7-Zip in our demo environment. And to that, you have to add a license. So all you have to do is type in some sort of license number in here. In this case, we just typed in 10,000 licenses for 7-Zip. Even if it's free, it's going to involve some cost for IT department to package and to maintain this. So of course, you can also put in a price on it. So when you have put in license, then you need to have a license distribution. So here comes the cool part. So you put license 7-Zip to unit free application, as Heather showed before. And in this case, if that would be we can show another application, Heather, that's called Beyond Compare. Maybe that's a better example. But as you can see here, we don't have requires approval. That means me as a user, I can order 7-Zip 24/7 whenever I want, and I can get it to my computer without me being a local admin or anyone else, but just little me. Okay? So do you want me to show Beyond Compare also?
Oh, please do. No, I think that'd be great. So they could see the difference with the licenses and the approvals.
Yeah. So as you can see here, we still have a license. We still have 10,000 licenses, but here we are using, as you can see here, different units. So as you can see here, my Foxtrot unit, it only has one license to it, okay? So I have two computers, or actually three, but I have one admin computer and two clients. And the two clients, they have to fight for the Beyond Compare application because Foxtrot only have one license. So me as a Foxtrot admin, I can only approve one machine to have Beyond Compare. And that's because I have that tick box require approval. And also you can tick box the require message from user. So the user needs to say something to the administrator. Please, I need this, otherwise I cannot do my job or something like that. And then me as an admin, I can approve that and say, of course you should, or sorry, I cannot give you that because I don't have any more licensing. Because the admin role is the one who can add licenses to this, and the owner, he's the one that can administer that amount of licenses. So this is how it works.
So thank you, Johan. So hopefully that kind of breaks it down for everyone to kind of understand how the units plugs into that. And just while we're on the screen, so we gave two examples of applications, but as I said, you can see if you look under the applications there on the left side that there are printer share access. What else do we got over there? Printer accounts, file share.
You also have Windows 10. if
Windows
you want
10.
to. So we can, yeah, so we can actually install our machines if you want to
For that.
ourselves as a user. Yeah, so you can, everything that is group orientated in your Active Directory, you can put that into your self-service portal and publish that to the users.
And also, too, you can choose when you set up the application. Even though we say application, it is really a resource, because for something such as the printer share or file share access, you're going to want to grant it by your user object, where if you're doing applications, it's the computer object. And when you go to set up that up, you do have the option, if you see up there under installation type, pick which one you want to have, and then that's how they grant it. So it's really more of a granting access tool than a deployment tool, because the deployment is happening in the back end with deploy. So anyway, I think that's a thank you, Johan. That's a good way, I think, to explain it better than staring at my slides. So why don't we look at the next slide, though? So anyway, owners. So the unit has an owner that we mentioned. So the owner's role, they can approve something or revoke something. So for those ones you choose to request approval for, that's where the owner comes in. And then there's an owner website. So Johan, will you pull that one up really quickly for us to look at? So if there's
the owner one?
Yes, the owner one, please. And simply, really, if you look at the top, you could see pending requests, approved, and denied. We're not going to see any right now, and I think when Johan does his demonstration at the end of the slides, we'll see how you can go in and do it. But it's simple that an owner, if they do have a request, an email comes through, then they'll go to this website under pending requests and grant it or deny it. And then they can also go to approve requests, and then is it revoked requests? So
no, approved.
Approve there, thank you. And then they can see what they've approved. So it's simple. There's not really a lot to go into the owner, but it's really a very important piece if you do want to use that approval mechanism. So, all right, that's all I have to show with the owners for right now. Then the big one is next is, I believe, users. So, and we're not going to jump into the user website now, because when Johan does his demo at the end, he's going to be a user on the user website. So we're not going to go over that twice, but just simply, end users are your users, and they can request their applications and resources, and then they can cancel requests. So depending based upon the units that they belong to, and they could belong to multiple units, they'll know what resources they can get requests through that. So next slide.
Yeah, and also to remind everyone, as a user, you can actually, if you request the application and you find that application useless, or why should I have that application? It's worthless to me. Me as a user, I can actually revoke my own request. That's why we say cancel a request. Then App Deploy would remove that for you. So it's very easy to maintain both installation and remove of applications.
Nice. All right, and then reporting. Reports are a part of it. They're available from the administrator website, and you can just see pretty much here's a list of reports you can get about approved, denied requests, your unit costs, unused licenses, and reinstallation requests. So you could get a list of different reports, and it's pretty much based upon how you're using Portal and what's being used in Portal that you can get information from. So I just want to mention that so you know that's available. And now it's time for Johan's demonstration.
Oh, fun. Yes. So instead of being an administrator, I'm going to actually be a user. So as you can see, I have something called available application. I can go to all categories here, so I can see everything. So what do you think, Heather? Do you think I should request a semi-zip?
Yes, please. Let's show the auto approval.
And because we don't have to approve anything, I just have to choose my computer. I have logged in as this F user on two computers, Foxtrot 2 and Foxtrot 3. That's why I actually have two objects in here. So I'm managing this as F user. So I will request this. And as you can see, nothing more happens. I have it in approve the request because it's automated. Everything will be done by the server from now on. So what we are waiting for now, it's actually a remote group policy refresh on this machine, and that will take approximately 30 seconds. And as you can see here now, something has happened. I can see it in the right corner, and also Windows 10 saying, oh, you have something here. So as you can see here, Heather, it will be installed.
Yes.
And of course, as I said, me as a user, I'm getting this by the self-service portal. I don't have to do anything else than just wait for it to be installed.
Okay.
So as you can see here, me as a user, I can also take away that. I don't want that. Oh, 7-zip, I don't understand what it is. Why did I request that? I'm going to remove that. So actually, I can, as a user, remove 7-zip also. But I'm a very, productive user. So I also want Beyond Compare. So I want to request Beyond Compare, but as you can see here on this requires approval, this application needs to be approved by someone, and that's the owner that's going to be the one that's going to approve this. So I'm going to request this to computer 2, to Foxtrot 2, and say, please, I need this application. And I will send this to the owner. Okay? That will take a couple of seconds. And now I think I got an email.
Ooh.
So do you want me to show everyone that email, Heather?
Sure, if you don't mind.
Yes. So as you can see here, so my user requested that, and the system emailed the owner this one. So he just pressed that link, and that link will send that owner to this page, as Heather said before. So now me as an admin, owner, sorry, I can choose to approve or deny. But of course, because this is a demo, I will be nice and say, yes, no problem. And the system will now email that user to say, you will have that also. So your request for Beyond Compare has been approved by fadmin. And the message from admin is, yes, no problem.
Okay, nice.
So that's nice. And on the computer itself, oh, I missed that. You have Beyond Compare waiting for to be installed. So this is very cool, simple, way to present very complicated administrative tasks to the user, so the user can do this whenever they want, and if it does require approval, the owner will have it in his email box next morning. So he will approve that or deny that, and can communicate that with the user. Do you want me to test to see how it works also with a printer?
Yes, please. I think that would be a good one to see.
So what we can do here, we can actually open up Active Directory users and computers, and we will go to that group. So I can actually see, I can show you guys that this is actually, there are no members in this group right now. So I will go to that finance color printer. I'm going to request that. So need it. And as you can see, that also requires approval. So me as an owner, I have to approve that also.
There you go.
So, yes.
Thank you, Johan.
And now you can see on that group that you have a member called F-user. And next time I log in onto that machine, I will have that printer assigned to me by Specops Self Service Portal.
Sweet. Thank you very much for that demonstration. So I hope everyone is able to get to see a better feel for Portal. Now you can see it in action and the pieces and what it does versus, you know, I hope you get an idea of the concept behind it and how it really works. So now,
yeah, and finally, and also Heather, how simple it does it. It's very powerful, but still very simple for all users and all the admins and all the owners. So you can actually have the manager for the finance to have their own application. So owner of the finance can actually approve a very expensive application for the group of the finance group. So instead of having all IT doing everything, you can actually push that out to the organization. So the manager of finance can do their administrative tasks in the self-service portal, and IT can be the admins to fix the product, to solve all the deployments and all that. And so it's very, very good thing to have in an organization.
Definitely. Thank you. So now I think it's our favorite time next. Q&A. So any questions you have? I see we have a few coming in already. Please ask away. First one, can Portal be installed on my Deploy server? Definitely. No problems. All of our products sit well and play well together on one server, so you can install Portal on the same server that you have Deploy. The next one, this one I'm going to give to you, Johan. Does Portal work with Chrome or Firefox?
It used to, but both Chrome, Firefox, everyone is actually, they don't think Silverlight. We are depending on Silverlight. So because of Silverlight, it doesn't work anymore. But it used to do that. Last year it worked, no problem. But in the latest and greatest from the other vendors of web browsers, they don't allow Silverlight to use as a plugin. So that's why it doesn't work so well nowadays. But in Internet Explorer, of course, it works.
Perfect. Thank you. So the next question is, are there any limitations to the types of applications that can be used in Portal? No, really, there's no limitations because remember, Portal is just adding a user or a computer to a security group. So if you can grant access to it or have the deployment triggered on the security group in Deploy, you can work with that. So as long as your application could be deployed by Deploy, you could do that. For the resources, as long as you can be granted access based on security group, you can use that. So let's see. Our network, it takes a long time for the software to come through after someone requests it from Self-Service Portal. Is there a way to speed up like in your demo? That's a good question because typically if you configure it right, that you can have a GP update is triggered on it. So that is, I believe, Johan, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is an additional setting. You have to grant some permissions for a GP update to come in because that's what happened is once it was granted approval or you requested it for no approval, a GP update is pushed to that machine in the back end. So that's why it happened so fast. So maybe there's something in your environment that's not set up. And in installation, isn't there a permission we have to give for that to happen? I'm trying to remember when I install it. I thought it's one of.
Yeah, let's. You said a lot of questions to me, so let's start with that. Yes. So the remote group policy refresh, it's actually a register value, so it's set to 15 seconds. So in a big environment where you have maybe 2 or 3 DCs in one site, maybe you need to, put that into 60 seconds because all the DCs need to be replicated. So if one of the DCs doesn't have this, new group membership, and the group policy refresh goes to a machine, and that machine is talking to that DC that isn't replicated, nothing will happen until 90 minutes later when another group policy refresh automatically works in your Active Directory and hit that machine, and then you will have that application. So it depends on how fast your DCs are replicated. That was one of the questions, Heather. What was the next question?
Yeah. I think the other question was, I'm trying to go through my head the portal installation, but I thought one of the steps in installation has to do with the GP update. Or is it one of the settings? I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm trying to think, because I thought there's one of the steps you have to do. It's either permissions or something to trigger that to happen, because there's a way you can have portal without having the GP update be automatic. But I can't remember.
No.
It's part of automatic, so I'm wrong.
Yeah. So it's more or less what you do when you set up self-service portal. You grant yourself to be able to take ownership of a group. Okay, and then the self-service portal service account will be able to add your computer or yourself to a security group. That's one thing you have to do. The second thing you need to do is we are using something called managed by attribute. So we are using something called self account. So me as a user, I can write, when I log into a machine, we have a group policy. So the client-side extension will actually add your name to that computer object. So that's why you see when you saw that I have two computers, is because I have logged in on Foxtrot 2 and Foxtrot 3. So that's the only, things you have to do in AD. And also the self-service portal account, the service account needs to be a local admin to get the remote GP update refresh to work.
Okay.
That's the only rights you need to do.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of, what the rights you need to have, the rights in place for the remote GP update to happen. So, that's just something to check over if you're having a problem with that. And we had a comment about someone came late into the webinar about the slides to go over them. Of course, the slides will actually be posted on our website along with the full webinar, the recording of it, probably within a day or two. But if for some reason you can't get access to that in a day or two, let us know and we'll get you any of the information you missed. So it's not a problem. Great questions, though. Thank you. And one more we have coming in. Can I customize the portal website? I'd say it's a little, right, Johan? I mean, there's a few of the icons you can, but not too much.
Yeah, it's not that very customizable. So, but you can do the top thing. But it's very, you can change little colors and stuff like that, but it's manual work, and it's very hard to customize it more than that.
Sure, yeah, pretty much. Like, it's not like if you've used some of our other products where you can do more customization. Portal's very limited in that. Yes. So, but all right, well, that pretty much wraps up the questions that we have. So, as always, thank you for attending and joining us. We don't have any more scheduled right now. So I know usually we've been advertising new webinars, but we're going to probably have a little break from webinars for a while. But if there is anything that you'd like to see or hear, please, send it in. You'll be getting an email from marketing following the webinar. So send in your comments and thoughts and any ideas, because Johan and I are always happy to give you guys what you like. So with that being said, thank you, Johan.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone that's watching us.
All right, and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.